在我看来，除了这个技术的问题以外，我觉得它跟这个应该说跟这个传统媒体的新闻的要求是没有什么区别的，它依然应该有它的真实性、它的这个重要性等等等这些就是新闻的这种原则和法则，依然适用于这个难度的，依然适用于这流媒体。
I love being in the business of telling stories digitally with pictures because there's so many stories. Digital provides you so much opportunity for distribution, for different choices about how you tell the story.
I'm always, of course, curious to see how other people are doing it. I'm always interested to see what my peers are doing in multimedia. Because I think every organization is taking a different approach.
What we're trying is to really define platforms. There's lots of platforms around. I mean, we have the iPad, we have the Android tablets, we have mobile, we have web.
If I can see the future, I think the future would be in the app-based ecology, where they will be using iPads or Android tablets, or maybe the later Microsoft Surfaces, where the content lives on the tablet itself.
What I recommend, obviously, is know your audience, know the kind of device that they use, and produce accordingly.
It's really easy to get it out there for people to see, right? Because you can put it on YouTube or Vimeo or, give it to a publisher that is willing to distribute it. I think the financing part is harder.
It's just such an interesting time to be involved in multimedia, and things are changing so much, and it's an ongoing thing that you have to kind of constantly keep up with. Really, it's an ever-shifting media landscape.
It's a challenge. It's a challenge for producers, because they need to have a lot of development, technical and technological skills, and then realize where will your content be playing?
The challenge of it is that you have to make a bunch of choices. There's always sort of time pressure decisions about, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. That's what I love, but it's definitely the biggest challenge in really trying to get to the next level on particular stories.
I think we're in a point now where publishing is becoming broadcast and becoming broadcasting. And as photographers, as image creators, as visual storytellers, we should be responding to that client need, as well as responding to our own creativity that this technology allows us to do.
It used to be that a handful of people, had control over what people saw. Well, that's totally over. Everybody has a printing press now. Everybody can publish, and I think it's fantastic for us that that's happening in a variety of ways. Not just because we can publish, but also because the audience is publishing. The audience is taking pictures. They're putting stuff out. They're trying to tell stories. So they understand more how hard our craft is, and when they see something that's truly remarkable, they know it.
Platforms which previously were not accessible to the low budget, the micro budget filmmaker are now accessible. And certainly in the UK, this isn't something that we're talking about as a concept that might happen. It is happening, and it has been happening for the last 2 to 3 years.
Let's grab an example. Video. How difficult in 2003 was it to publish a video? It was a problem. I mean, you needed to have, obviously your camera. You need to somehow get into your computer. You need to encode it somehow to produce something that could be, eventually published on the web. You needed a server, and you needed to consider bandwidth. How many gigabytes or megabytes will this consume? You needed to pay for this, and then you need to upload it, and you need to manage it, and then so again and again. What happened when YouTube came around? All these barriers disappeared, and the cost of doing this, of publishing video, the cost basically disappeared.
what we're seeing at the moment is a revolution, a huge outpouring of work.
There's been some amazing progress in the way we share information, share stories. There are YouTube, there are Pinterest, there are all these amazing photo sharing sites, all these things that enables us to share existing media. And there's also been a lot of progress in the types of devices we have, and we're constantly online and we can consume and create and all these things. But I don't think the same kind of progress has been made in the quality and the experience of the story on the digital formats.
Because of the cameras being able to produce work of such high quality that that becomes a pond of mediocrity, which has a sheen of excellence, but lacks the depth and the understanding of either art form, either photography or filmmaking.
There's missing more evolution and more attempts to define new ways of creating the same great experience that you get from a great film documentary or from a great magazine.
I think it's a matter of starting from the story and winding up with the platform and then to the audience, rather than looking from the audience to the platform. Because then I think you're going to start getting caught up in things that will take you farther away from the heart of doing good multimedia journalism, which at the heart of it is always the idea. It's the content more than the way that it's being viewed and distributed.
Our idea is that you should be able to choose a template, choose if you want to use your photos from whatever source you have them on, so Facebook, YouTube, on your uploading from your own computer. Click a button and it puts together a nice little story for you, automated.
The capacity should be there for you to easily, produce it, integrate it, publish it, distribute it, and consume it.
Al Jazeera, for example, we did one project with them after the Arab Spring or the Egypt Revolution, where they had, I think it was 16 days of amazing coverage from Egypt, and they put together a little timeline where you could, almost like a diary, where you could go day by day and get photos or videos and tweets, and it sort of showcased the whole 16 days of Egypt revolution, and they did that in a few hours. And even a big organization like that would have had to spend more time and more money if they should have built it from the ground up.
那么这是网民使用互联网场景的变化和这个终端的变化。就是那么这个为什么说在中国传统门户业务门户网站变成了传统媒体，就是因为网民开始用手机了，用手机上网了。用手机上网之后，而且都是用智能手机 ，App Store 很厉害了 ，App Store 变成了门户，那么变成了入口。
So the publication of multimedia journalism in China is quite problematic because of the firewall and because of the censorship that is involved. They run the risk of losing their licenses and in some cases losing their jobs if they cross that line. However, the firewall is not very good at dealing with the mass spread of internet news, of user-generated content, because it comes much faster and it comes from people within China at such a rate that it's hard to actually monitor that in the same way as they can do the established media.
The future is not going to be just web-based. So we're also teaching them how to write software for iPad, iPhone, and also writing software for the Android platform.
I would argue that the social networks is the new front page. I mean, when you think about the idea that, you can log in the morning and sort of do an RSS feed, or, look at an aggregate of tweets and have all these diverse viewpoints sort of funneled into you, that's the new front page for me, My social network helps curate for me everything that's going on in the world, and I get more diverse viewpoints than I've ever had before. And there's no other front page of any single publication that can compete with that social network. So if something is done that is really well done in multimedia, I'm going to see it. It's going to find its way to me.